All right, welcome everybody to week 3 of the Kent State football press conference, and we'll start off with an opening statement from head coach Sean Lewis. Coach?
Yeah, obviously good win the other night. Really pleased with the effort by our kids. Got to assess the tape. Some guys had some really good performances. Was really pleased with Zay West up front, how active he was. The offensive line did another tremendous job, really, I thought, establishing a new line of scrimmage and rushing for a significant amount of yards again, which really led us to really, use all different aspects of our game plan. We need to continue to clean up special teams. That's always been a point of emphasis for us since we've gotten here. It's always been a competitive advantage. And we had some miscues, in teams in the first half that we need to clean up so that we can really play games the way that we are capable of playing in all 3 phases. But pleased with the overall effort. Again, anytime you get to keep your wheel home, that's great. Touch some milestones there with some significant numbers, which is always good to see. And more importantly, everyone got an opportunity to play in a very big and meaningful game, got the win, and now on to a very, very good Buffalo team that is solid and well-built top to bottom in all 3 phases, and know that that's going to be a really fun contest and a really tough battle up in Buffalo in a few days here.
Open it up for some questions. Alan, you want to give us the first one here?
Yeah, Coach. I mean, I was covering the team back in 2012 when they got things rolling, and I remember one of the huge parts of that was a couple of changes they made up front with their offensive line. Not to get into particulars there, doesn't really matter now, but last year, dating back to when you got this thing really going offensively, it seemed like the line play got a lot better. This year, obviously, it seems like they're playing really well up there, even though you've had to kind of shuffle some guys around a little bit. But just talk about, first of all, their role as a whole of getting this thing really going offensively like you want to do it, and then kind of individually, who's really shined so far.
Yeah, I mean, I often look over at that group when we're warming up or when I just get a few seconds, on the field to kind of reflect on the journey that we've had, even since when we first arrived on campus. And that first spring game, Alan, you probably remember, we literally dressed 5 offensive linemen for that first spring game. And now I look down there and there's depth and there's talent that the staff has done a great job developing the guys who were here and then going out and recruiting, to the profile, both character-wise and physical trait-wise that we covet. And the way that those guys have come together, really impressed with the way that they're playing as a unit and how we've been able to cross-train a lot of guys, given the circumstances to where, Adam Gregoire has been playing inside and outside. Billy Kudik's played both right tackle and left tackle. Daniel Johnson's played both left tackle and right tackle. The guys inside have been really interchangeable. So the consistency of Nate Monin in particular, again, a guy who we inherited, developed, was a tight end, but again, saw his skill set, saw his strengths, saw where he best fit with our style of play, and his nasty attitude and demeanor that he brings inside, which I absolutely love. He's been a focal point of this thing for the past 3 years at right guard. And he's provided some consistency as Jack Clement has really stepped up and taken over the starting role as a center. That was a piece going into it that we knew we had Jack, and he had played some ball last year for us when Warnock got dinged up a little bit at times. But for him to step up and be the man is something completely different. The way that he has been really, really solid. And then again, I can't say enough about Big A and the different spots that he has played, whether it be inside at guard or outside at tackle. He's kind of a utility man of all sorts wherever we need him. And then the emergence of Billy Kudik has been really, really good. And again, he's got room, and he'd be the first one to tell you that there's significant room for growth and improvement. And when we get another full training cycle with him, I think that's one area that both him and DJ not having the summer lifting cycle and kind of the inconsistency of training going into the season to where they're probably not as stout as they would like to be at those tackle positions. But again, because of their athleticism, they have a chance. So, just pleased overall with the way that group's developed. And then the young guys who have gotten the opportunities to play the past couple of weeks, there's some bright futures that down in that group as well. Jack Bailey from Kirkland has really done some good things, in the roles that he's gotten. Elijah Lamptey's done some good things in the backup tackle role as well. Zach Whaley, again, a guy that we went and identified. He was a high school defensive lineman. He's now in that kind of swing tackle role as well. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Elijah Ratliff as well with that group, because he is an offensive lineman, but, looks pretty slim and trim and an eligible number now, and is doing some fun things at tight end for us out of necessity.
What you kind of mentioned what you look for. What exactly is the kind of the lineman that fits your mold, offensive line?
A power forward in basketball that has the ability to add mass to his frame. But in an ideal world, I would love for our old line room to look like a rec intramural basketball team that loves a buffet line. So that's kind of the best visual of traits, I guess, in simplest terms that I could give. But then, they need to be high football IQ guys, because again, at our tempo and pace that we play at, we do your standard Mike ID so that we know who the line's working to in pass pro and run. But, we don't have our center a la Jeff Saturday sitting there. Hey, Mike's 42. We're working to him. They all have to see that collectively, through one set of eyes. And again, with the limited meeting times and the way that we are forced to meet given the times, I'm really, really impressed with the way that they're all on the same page because of the circumstances of meetings and everything. They've really utilized the walkthrough times and the time that we have on the grass to do that. So, got to be cerebral, got to be a great bender in terms of being able to bend through their hips, knees, ankles, because it doesn't do you any good to be as big as a Daniel Johnson or a Savion Washington, who's 6'9" and over 300 pounds. But if you can't bend and move and play with leverage, it doesn't do you any good. So those are kind of the top primary things that we look for. And then, the overall underlining theme too, kind of like as I mentioned with Monin, to where they're nasty finishers. They're always looking to finish blocks the right way, finish downfield to the ball, and it just jumps off tape that they love playing the game.
If I'm a quarterback, if I'm a running back, if I'm a wide receiver out there looking for a college, I can see why I would want to play offense for you. Do you have the same type of do these offensive linemen that are out there kind of look at this as a fun offense too as well?
Yeah, I truly believe that they do. Everything that we ask our kids to do, that the numbers that are generated for the skinny butts and they get all the attention because they get all the numbers, none of that happens with the guys in the trenches. It's when I get the opportunity, when this is all said and done many, many years from now, I think I'm just going to go be a high school offensive line coach somewhere and just get a chance to work with those guys, because they're the greatest human beings on planet Earth. They're the most selfless group that there is. But from a conceptual standpoint and everything, we do so much in terms of full slide protection, half slide protection, man protection, inside zone scheme, outside zone scheme, gap schemes, screen games. Our offensive linemen get to put everything down on tape that an NFL scout is looking for. There's no box that isn't checked when an NFL scout comes through and says, okay, well, you guys are primarily an inside zone team, so we're going to have to see what he looks like when we get to his pro day about how he can down block on a deuce, part of a gap scheme. Well, no, he does that too here, and then, well, you guys, you just kind of operate in the tackle box and guys really don't play out in space. Well, check out all these screens that we do and watch whoever you want operate in space, because we'll release tackles, we'll release guards, we'll release centers in our screen game. So, the scouts that come through, it's a pretty thorough evaluation where there's no holes or boxes that aren't unchecked. And I think because of that, when we get offensive line prospects, down the road with our recruitment, we're able to show them the benefit of being trained and well-versed in all these different tools and concepts that they're going to have to be proficient at the next level.
Am I still the only one?
Now let's go over to Ben Pagani. He mentioned that he had a question. Ben?
Morning, Coach. Just want to know, we talked about watching film the other day and kind of maybe getting a chance to understand Buffalo's offense a little bit. And I guess one of the biggest questions on the team so far this season has been just the defensive line kind of stopping stuff. And I know Coach Farrell's been around longer than your other guys. So I want to know, whenever you have a coach who's seeing a couple MAC teams back-to-back, who's been here long enough, gave up a lot of yards on the ground the other day. So whenever you go up against a running back like Jarrett Patterson, he's pretty talented. How do you stop that from happening 2 games in a row? Are there any adaptations you've gotten to see in the last day?
Well, I've been very, very pleased overall with our defensive effort as a whole. They're a very disruptive group where we're leading the country, or at least in the top 15 in a lot of statistical categories in terms of sacks and TFLs and disruptive plays. We had some moments the other night that weren't necessarily on the kids where, we called some stimulated pressures, like in 1st and 15 situations, anticipating pass. So guys are running their pass the way they're coached to do. And tip of the cap to the guys on the other side who are getting paid that they ran some runs that ended up creasing us and being big time plays. So that's not necessarily all on the kids. There's some moments that the kids know where, like we talked about the other night, where they have to win their one-on-ones so that they can disengage, because no matter what scheme you're running or who's coaching it up, if I got the dry erase marker last, the offense is going to win because I got the perfect play. But the beauty of it is the game isn't played with a marker. Those circles and those X's come to life because players end up making plays, and our kids are excited to get back out on the field. Obviously, there's a huge challenge ahead of us. You look at obviously Patterson and what he's done, and he just rushed for 300 yards, and he's done things like that his whole career. And Coach Leipold has built a solid offensive line that is big, nasty, all the things that we were just talking about. And they've built that team to suit their environment that they're in. The early weather forecast from things that I'm looking at 10 days out here is that wind gusts are going to be anywhere from 35 to 45 miles per hour. So it's going to be one of those strap it up, bite down on your mouth guards, big boy football games. And we have to do a great job up front in both trenches. And we got to have a great week of preparation to know and understand all the different things that they do run game wise, because they do a great job on their outside zone. Patterson has a great feel for it. And then on top of that, they do a great job playing some numbers games with the midline to where they trade tight ends or they get in a diamond formation with multiple backs or tight ends. And at the snap, it's a balanced set. But then post snap, guys are crossing the midline. They're creating extra gaps. They're creating numbers advantages. It's really sound. It's really complex. And I'm lucky that we have a few extra days because they're a damn good team. And we need to be on our P's and Q's and be at our best.
Alan, do you have some more questions for Coach?
Yeah, kind of following up on that. Just from some of the things Coach Arth was saying after last game, I was kind of thinking in my mind, everybody thinks you guys is obviously really aggressive offensively. In reality, you may be even more aggressive defensively sometimes in how you're trying to get after people a lot. And they were able to expose that a little bit, like you said. Can you go in with that same type of aggressive mentality against a guy like Patterson and against an offense like this? Or do you have to kind of change things up a little bit?
I think you need to always be coming downhill. I think you need to be attacking to where your kids can play fast. Now, obviously, you got to pick your spots, and you need to know when to do that and how to do that. But I think by nature, defense is really, really hard because every single snap you have to prepare in defense everything. So where we can, I think it's our job as coaches to allow our kids to attack and to play fast. And we know where in certain calls we're weak and we're vulnerable. There's not any perfect defensive call, because if you sit back and too high, then you're going to be short in the run game. If you come down and you're in one high or you're in all out pressure and you don't get home, obviously your corners are on an island or your coverage guys are on an island, right? So it's a delicate balance of picking your spots. But again, ultimately, we got to put our kids, it's our job as coaches to put our kids in the best position to be successful. And the kids that are good at pressuring or getting to the ball, they're the ones that are doing that. The kids that are built and trained to coverage, they're doing that. We have enough lookalikes that we don't have tells in what we're doing. And I think Coach Kaufman and the staff do a great job with that. And as a whole, again, I mean, we've been very, very disruptive defensively, and look for that to continue to improve as we continue to grow, as we're 4 games into this season.
Just talk about Patterson a little bit, type of back he is, what makes him special.
I mean, first off, he's a tremendously hard runner. He's incredibly difficult to bring down. Usually one guy doesn't do it on his own. You got to get hats to the football, which again, forces you and stresses you in a lot of different ways to the number of hats you're committing to the run game. He's a very patient runner, especially on their outside zone play, to where each time they do it, it kind of hits a little bit different to where it can bounce around the edge, or he kind of presses it and bangs it, or the defense overflows and he bends it back. So he's the complete package, and he's continued to get better and better and better and refine his game. And they have found different ways to get him the ball in space. And man, when he gets it and he gets a crease, he knows how to finish it. So we got a nice challenge ahead of us. It's a great opportunity. Our kids are excited about it. Our staff's excited about it, and know it's going to be a fun contest here in 10 days.
You mentioned the weather up there, which you obviously never know what you're going to get. Just know it's going to be bad in some way. But you know, you do a lot of things offensively. But even knowing where you play, you're going to deal with this at some point. You prepare offensively to be in a game like this, and when the weather's going to turn bad, and being ready to do things in a different way, or whatever the case may be.
For sure. Yeah, you got to have those contingency plans in place, right? And it's the beauty of being in the Midwest and in Northeast Ohio. I mean, we could be 1 week of spring practice and have 75 degrees, and then 3 days later there's snow on the ground. I mean, shoot, that was last week, to where we had a day where it was 68, and then come game day we got snow on the ground. So we have a lot of different ways that we can get the job done. And again, over time, we have accumulated talent at a lot of different position groups to where we can get it done a lot of different ways. I thought last week, again, with the job that Elijah Ratliff did, because of the situation with our tight ends due to injuries, having guys down, him step up, gave us the ability to play big boy football and run the football. And then the emergence of our backs has allowed us to do some things as well. For the first time since we've been here at Kent State, we got into a 2-back set, with 2 tailbacks, 3 wides on the field at the same time, which poses some different issues, to defenses. So there's a lot of different ways that we can get it done. And the beauty of it is we got a few extra days to continue to watch the weather and see how we need to build this plan, so that we can go execute in all 3 phases.
Does Crum's skill set fit a game that could potentially be real, high wind, that type of thing?
For sure. I think the way that he's multifaceted, both, run and pass ability, he's going to be just fine. I mean, heck, the last time we were up there a couple of years ago, I mean, the wind was blowing 50 plus, and he came in, and the one scoring drive that we had, let us down the field, and he was able to cut the wind because he throws such a nice tight spiral. So he's going to be just fine. And again, he's a kid that has grown up in it, right? Being from Grafton Midview, this is what he knows, right? So I mean, he made some deep playoff runs, and I'm sure those were not beautiful sunny evenings that he was getting it done.
All right, last round of questions here for Coach.
Yeah, I got another if you're.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. I was at the last time they played, the last regular season game I can think of is this big as that Bowling Green 2012. Kind of a similar cold, similar time of year. Just talk about, kind of touched on this after the last game, but, building up to this and playing this big of a game and with all this on the line, and how you guys can handle that. And just, building up to the game that you kind of envisioned when you took over this program.
Yeah, I mean, I think that last point that you made, Alan, is really what gives us a level of comfort, so to speak, with everything. I mean, from day one, probably when I stood up at the podium and was talking about, winning the wheel and winning the East and winning the league and playing in the New Year's Six bowl game, I'm sure there's people that have been around the program that are like, what, this guy doesn't know what he just signed up for, right? But from day one, we've had high standards, high expectations, and we've held our kids to that. But it's not about talking about winning, right? It's not about talking about winning the wheel. It's not about talking about winning the East. It's talking about, all right, what are we doing today? What are our daily habits and the things that we can actually control, and how we go about our work? Because ultimately, how we handle things today gives us a chance to perform when the opportunity comes. So, it's the stage is set. It's the 3rd week in a row where we're going to be on a nationally televised game, to where people are going to take notice and they get an opportunity to, see how special our kids are, see how great our university is. And that's something that our kids have created. That's something that they've embraced. And through their hard work, they can lean back on their preparation and gain confidence from that, and then go execute the plan. And again, I said it last week, I told it to the kids last night, no matter how big the stage gets or how hot the spotlight gets, nothing shines brighter than our kids. They rise to the occasion, they rise to the moment, and I look forward to seeing them do that again.
You get a little layoff here, obviously, to maybe get some people healthy. I know Sam's and Lawrence Burke weren't able to play. What do you think?
Yeah, I think anytime, especially in the middle of the season, as you build up for a physical ball game, the way this is going to be, where both guys want to run the ball and stop the run, we need all willing and able bodies that are up. So, we kind of tweaked our schedule a little bit to build in a little extra time because of the extra time to rest our guys up. Feel good about the way everyone is trending. Again, this is a big recovery day for us, today, and guys will spend a lot of time in the training room and get treatment that they need. And we'll find a little bit more information as we progress the next few days, but feel good about the way guys are trending in the direction that it's going. And more importantly, the extra time for bodies to heal and get right before this game gets rolling, next Saturday.
Did you come out of Akron pretty well, health-wise?
We did. Yeah, we did. There was a couple, I think we had like one dislocated finger where guys are warriors and reset it and buddy taped it together and away we go, so, but besides that, there was nothing major.
Just the last one, just the COVID. I know you can't get into particulars, but just in general, is that being handled and going as well as these days can?
Yeah, again, incredibly proud of the way our kids have handled it, and knock on wood, I know numbers are going up everywhere, but our numbers are very, very good on the team. And, the in-person classes and basically activity on campus, stops after this week. Tomorrow's the last day of in-person classes, and we'll kind of get into a bubble, for lack of a better term, with the general population heading back home for the holidays and fall break and staying home. So, so far so good. But again, that's a day-to-day, moment-to-moment deal. But really pleased, again, with the self-discipline and the ownership our kids have had with that.
Last call here for questions. All right. Just a bit of housekeeping because of the holiday next week. We won't do a press conference, Coach. So I'll let you guys enjoy that. We'll see you after hopefully a big win against Buffalo on Saturday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Go Flashes.
Thanks, Coach.